Are you ready to feel better, ride better, and be better? If so, I think you're going to want to watch this presentation until the end. But first, let's talk about you. Does this sound like you? Are you tired of feeling sore or ignoring your aches and back pain when you ride? Do you dream of being so fluid and supple you can easily follow every movement of your horse, even sitting the trot? Are you tired of your instructor telling you the same things over and over about your position? Are you exhausted from trying to do it all? Horse, family, career, and trying to make time for yoga or Pilates or whatever you do so that you're fit enough to be a good and kind rider for your horse? Or how about these? Are you frustrated because you're still waiting to get the results that you've been chasing from all your hard work and investment? Do you worry that your stiffness and tension may be hurting your horse's back or mouth? Do you wish that you could feel that ease, freedom, and joy you recall from riding as a kid? Well, what if there was a proven way to get supple and get rid of tension? What if this solution didn't even involve riding, training, or working out? What if it was appropriate for all riders, no matter your discipline or fitness level? And what if you could say goodbye to stiffness and back pain for good? Here's what Lena had to say. She wrote, "Dear Alissa, OMG. I've been dealing with neck pain almost to the point of spasm for about a week and could not get it to release with massage or a TENS unit. 2 minutes of this and the pain is diminished and I have mobility again. Thank you." I know that you want to be the best rider and partner for your horse, and that you want to feel and function at your very best. You know that to live the life you dream of, you must do something about the tension, pain, and restrictions in your body. But why should you listen to me? Well, hi, my name is Alissa Mayer. I'm a certified equine Hanna Somatics educator. I have a bachelor's degree in equine science and management. I also co-instruct the Equine Hanna Somatics professional training program at the Novato Institute of Somatic Research and Training. I'm the creator of A Somatic Approach to Horsemanship and also Somatics for Riders and my new posture transformation program. I have been the go-to somatic educator and equine bodyworker to riders and equine athletes all over the world, from beginners to Olympic level athletes, also for dancers, horsemanship gurus, dressage trainers, professional athletes. The list goes on. I have been teaching this stuff to my horse training and riding clients for over a decade. And what I have to share with you today, I think is going to change your life, stimulate your brain, and give you the tools to create real change in your life and in your riding. But first, let me tell you what this presentation is not. I am not going to offer you 5 empty promises. So many of these free presentations that you find online promise to reveal how to do X, Y, Z, and then instead of giving you actionable info, they spend the next 40 plus minutes telling you why you need to hire them specifically, or make that free consultation call so they can then sell you on hiring them to help you, etc. You know the drill. Today, I'm going to offer you some real education, and then I'm going to give you access to some tools for creating immediate change so that you can get on with improving your life. Sound good? I want to introduce you to one of my all-time favorite people and trainers in the world. And I am so humbled and grateful that she has some wonderful things to say about my work. She said, "The sessions with Alissa were truly amazing." I've been around horses for over 30 years and had my share of different body work and awareness done with my horses. The sessions with Alissa were truly amazing. Simple, subtle movements, and the horses transformed. The before and after shots of their posture really impressed me. Longer necks, softer muscle tone, and overall relaxation. The other extremely important side is us. After working with Alissa personally for human awareness, I now see how important the human side is. She says, "Do it all, you won't regret it." That's from my friend and teacher, Amy Brimhall-McCord of Inspirational Horse. So let's talk about the mind-body connection. Have you noticed that no matter how much you stretch, how often you do your yoga or Pilates, how well hydrated you stay, how often you get massages or chiropractic adjustments, and of course, practice, that your habits and areas of tension just keep coming back? It's super frustrating, right? In a moment, I'm going to tell you why this happens, which I'm pretty sure none of your trainers, coaches, doctors, or fitness instructors have ever been able to do. The patterns that restrict you and define your habits are not in your body. Those pesky patterns that we also call habits are actually a series of impulses coming from your brain and your spinal cord. So no matter how hard you work on your body, you will continue to fail to make lasting changes until you change the unconscious instructions that your central nervous system is sending to your muscles. This is exactly what we'll be doing in my Posture Transformation Program course, but more on that a little bit later. Your brain controls your posture. A body, any body, will have perfect posture when all of the skeletal muscles are resting with a neutral tonus. This means that you're only using the minimum muscular activity to maintain an upright yet relaxed position, with no extra muscular effort being wasted on holding unnecessary muscle contractions. Muscle contractions are unnecessary when they're not performing a function, like holding the trunk or neck upright or acting on the skeletal structure to move the body or a part of the body in a purposeful way. These muscles cannot act alone, but only follow instructions from the central nervous system, like I said earlier. It's your muscles that move you or prevent you from moving easily. Skeletal muscles are one of 3 types of muscle in the body, and they make up the majority of muscle tissue that we can actually see and feel. Skeletal muscles are attached to bones, mostly bones anyway, by tendons, and they produce all the movements of a body's parts in relation to one another by pulling on the bones when the muscles contract. That's how you move around. Skeletal muscle can contract rapidly, but it cannot remain contracted. The muscle fibers must relax before the next contraction can occur. This means that a muscle that's in a state of chronic contraction is actually being contracted over and over and over again, which is why these muscles are frequently sore and tired and even painful to the touch. Your skeletal muscles are organized in pairs. There's an agonist and an antagonist, and they must take turns contracting for movement to happen easily. Stiffness happens when a pair of opposing muscles are both contracted at the same time. The result is a holding or a bracing against one another, and that results in stiffness. Crookedness comes from this too. So when one of a pair of muscles is more chronically contracted than the other, it pulls the body out of alignment, and that results in asymmetry or crookedness. These muscles, the skeletal muscles, are voluntary in nature. That means they only contract when they're told to do so by the somatic nervous system. They respond to instructions because they have no will of their own. So here's the truth about tension. Being voluntarily controlled by the somatic nervous system does not, however, mean that all of your skeletal muscles are necessarily under your voluntary control. You, the mind that you think of as yourself, do not actually know how to drive your super complicated body around. There is some good news. Each body comes pre-programmed with an autopilot system that includes all the basic movement patterns necessary for life. That autopilot system lives largely in the cerebellum and the brainstem of the vertebrate brain. The autopilot system is a learning system and continues to add new movement patterns throughout the life of the organism. Any pattern of muscular contraction that is repeated enough, whether it's due to sport, training, practice, or even involuntary reflexes, will become part of the program that we often describe as muscle memory, or habits, or mannerisms, or posture. In horses, we might describe this as push button, robotic, or headset, and call them leg movers or high-headed. The bad news is that the brains of highly developed vertebrates like humans and horses are also extremely adaptable, which lends us to accumulating chronic muscle contractions due to what are dulled or numbed areas in our body awareness, depending on the stresses and the activities that we engage in our life. These dysfunctional muscle contractions that are repeated also become part of the autopilot program. This condition is called sensory motor amnesia. You've probably never heard of sensory motor amnesia, right? Well, sensory motor amnesia is sneaky. It's actually affecting your movement right now and restricting your ability to communicate with horses and be your best and most athletic self. Sensory motor amnesia is a habituated state of forgetfulness of how certain muscles feel and how to effectively coordinate them. Sensory motor amnesia, which is SMA for short, cannot be cured by treatment, medicine, or surgery, but it can be controlled consciously after a relearning process. That is the official definition of sensory motor amnesia from the Nevada Institute of Somatic Research and Training. So what are the symptoms of SMA? Chronic pain, lack of strength, restricted flexibility, shallow breathing, loss of energy, stiffness, poor body awareness, crookedness, dysfunctional posture like rounded shoulders, low back pain, tight hips, heels that creep up, cramps and muscle spasms, etc. How does SMA even happen? Well, muscle contractions that become habitual pass into the unconscious parts of our brains, and therefore they are no longer in our conscious control. This is why habits are so hard to break. The parts of your brain that the conscious you can access forget what it felt like before those habits were formed, making going back nearly impossible, as the tension from those habits is replayed 24/7 by your unconscious, like a broken record. I've been teaching this stuff to my riding and training clients for over a decade, like I said earlier. And what I've noticed as I traveled and taught clinics and workshops all over the world is that everyone is super busy doing the same old things. They're doing yoga, stretching, Pilates, working out, getting massages and chiropractic adjustments and other expensive bodywork treatments. But nearly everyone is still suffering from the same old pain, stiffness, and asymmetries, no matter how much they're doing to try to address it. So you know that if you want to get different results and enjoy real change, you have to do something different. That's why you're here. Instead of treating the symptoms by targeting the body, you must address the core issue, SMA, and the way that your brain is instructing your muscles. There is a solution that has helped thousands of people all over the world to get out of pain and to thrive in sport and in life. It's called Hanna Somatics. Hanna Somatics can both reverse and prevent sensory motor amnesia. Without drugs, stretching, breaking a sweat, or getting fancy treatments, you can get rid of SMA and get back to your life. I'm going to reveal to you a little known yet extremely important fact about tension. Are you ready? Chronic tension is learned. Tension doesn't just happen. In an effort to be efficient, your brain adapts to movements and muscle contractions that were once useful to you, and now they are a part of your unconscious posture and pattern. What was learned can be unlearned. Using some natural reflexes and your brain's obsession with efficiency, we can cause your brain to adapt again, to relearn how to move the way you used to before all that life stuff happened to you. This is guaranteed to work for everybody. Hanna Somatics is based 100% in proven science and physiology. It's not new science. This is just a new awareness of how to tap into your natural human self-care system. I want to introduce you to a dressage rider who has some really nice things to say about what Hanna Somatics has done for her. This is Felicitas, an international dressage trainer and competitor from Maryland, the United States, and she wrote to us the following. She said, "After 30 years of back pain and many invasive procedures, my pain level had increased to the point that I felt I would have to give up training horses. In desperation, I found an article about Hanna Somatics, and the description of the body holding on to chronic tension patterns, with the brain forgetting how to let go of the muscle, made complete sense to me. Also, the idea that the subtle movements of Hanna Somatics were something that I could do by myself, anywhere, anytime, was very attractive, particularly with my busy travel schedule showing horses and teaching. Luckily, I found a local educator, and after my first session, I was convinced that this would help me. I traveled the next day to a clinic and already was worried about sitting all day in those uncomfortable plastic chairs. I always needed a rolled up saddle pad or pillow behind my back. When I got there, the day after my first Hanna Somatic session, I sat on that chair without any cushion for my lower back, and I thought it was the most comfortable chair I'd ever sat in. Just learning to release the tension in my lower back had made this enormous difference. I've not looked back since, and I'm amazed how much Hanna Somatics has helped my overall body awareness. My riding has improved greatly, becoming more even and all around, more supple in my hips has helped my position. I have recommended Hanna Somatics to all my students, and I can see a difference in their riding and movement if they stay committed to it. Hanna Somatics has improved my overall well-being, not only by getting me through chronic pain, but by allowing me to do other things like gardening, which I was not able to do anymore before Hanna Somatics. I am now traveling in comfort since I now know how to keep helping my muscles reset back to neutral. And even after a few years, I still feel that my Hanna Somatics practice is full of new discoveries about my body. So how does Hanna Somatics create change? Well, unlike virtually every other type of exercise or work that we can do with our bodies, Hanna Somatics engages the whole being, the body and the mind, as a synergistic unit. The secret to somatic movement is being mindful while moving slowly and without stretching. This creates a feedback loop in your neuromuscular system that allows our brains to make adjustments based on the sensory feedback in real time. This means your brain will be noticing areas of inefficiency or restriction as you are moving, and it will make changes to improve your overall function. Hanna Somatics targets your brain. During somatic movement, you'll literally be hacking your brain. You're shifting the level of brain control from the unconscious part to the voluntary motor cortex, which is the only part of your brain that can actually make changes in your chronic tension. Hanna Somatics uses natural reflexes. By doing this special type of mindful movement, you will be triggering a series of natural reflexes that cause your brain to adjust your resting muscle tonus. Remember, resting muscle tonus is another way of saying your tension levels. Hanna Somatics resets you to your neutral. Once your resting muscle tone has been reset back to neutral and your body image has been updated with our body image training lessons, neutral once again becomes your baseline. It's much like rebooting your computer. I'd like to introduce you to another rider, horse owner, and instructor named Christy Rains, a 4-star senior Pirelli professional. She says about Hanna Somatics, I highly recommend it. She also says, after my first Hanna Somatics session for myself, I felt as relaxed as a deep massage after an hour in the hot springs. I was never able to finish the first equine Hanna Somatics session that I did with any of my 5 horses because halfway through each session, each one would lie down and stretch out in the sun for a long nap. Somatics helps the horse or the human release chronically contracted muscles, which is beneficial mentally, emotionally, and physically. I highly recommend it for horses and humans. So why haven't you heard of Hanna Somatics before? Well, certified Hanna Somatic educators typically teach their clients how to alleviate sensory motor amnesia through one-on-one sessions and group classes. But there are not enough Hanna Somatics practitioners in the world, and it's very likely that you do not have access to one in your area. That's why I created the Posture Transformation Program, so that every equestrian, every person in every corner of the world can have access to this extremely valuable information. I want you to get out of pain, return to higher functioning, get supple, gain body awareness, and really develop your feel. So now you have a choice. You can close this window and go back to your life, continuing to manage your pain and push through when things get difficult. Or you can choose a different path. You can choose to get out of pain and learn to do some science-backed self-care. You can choose to become the best and most supple rider and athlete that you can be. If that's what you want, I'm happy to help you. You deserve it. And of course, your horse will thank you. The lessons that I share in my posture transformation program are the exact lessons that I used to get rid of my debilitating back and sciatic pain about a year after I nearly died giving birth to my beautiful identical twin sons. This information has allowed me to get back to my horses, back to dancing, and back to enjoying my active life. I want this for you too. I want you to be pain-free, to feel athletic and strong, to be free to communicate clearly, and to be the person that you and your horse dream of. I'm so glad that you're here. I have a question for you now. If not now, when? Don't wait any longer to transform yourself. Are you ready to feel better, ride better, and be better? It's time to invest in your well-being. Try Somatics for Riders and start enjoying the benefits from day 1. Start now. Your horse will thank you. Scroll down to learn more about how you can participate in the Posture Transformation Program and try Somatics for Riders for yourself. I'll see you on the inside.